In Module 8, and we've been talking a lot in this module about different formulas and some of the different functions in Excel. We've had a quick overview of formulas. We've gone through and looked at a ton of different functions, and now I want to talk to you about something called absolute values. I've mentioned to you a couple of times the term relative reference, and that's where Excel will automatically change the column or row so the answer is correct. I did mention to you that you're not always going to want to do that, and this is an instance where you would want to create an absolute value. Let me flip over and I'll show you what an absolute value is and why you'd want to use it. This exercise is very similar to the one we've been working in. This is that same company, Books and Beyond, and they have an Australian division of the company and a European division of the company, and they're tracking pretty much the same information as far as the salesperson and their figures for all their quarters and their totals. But now we see something new. It looks like they'd like to give them a commission as well, and they're going to give them a commission rate of 15% that you see up here. What I want to do is first of all go back and review relative reference so you can see what that is, and then we'll write a formula to figure out the commission. Remember that relative reference basically means that when you write a formula, Excel will automatically know to change the row if you go up and down or the column if you go across. So all of these formulas right here would be the exact same except that the row right here would be different. When we look at our columns, all of these across this way will be the same except that the column will be different. There are some times when you don't want to do that, and this is a prime example. Let's go ahead and click over here in H8, and I want to figure out Mr. Long's commission. Remember, it's going to be a 15% commission based on his total. And the easiest way to do this is just hit the equal sign on your keyboard. We're going to take G8, which is Mr. Long's total, and we're going to multiply it times G3, which is the commission rate. I'm going to go ahead and hit the enter key, and you'll see his commission is $176.25. And let me just make a comment here. A lot of times people think that you have to have a word or a function in every formula, and that is not the way it is. Think about this one. All I want to do is take one cell times another. There's not really a word for that, and I wouldn't need one anyway because there's no range here. So don't get caught up on that. Make your formulas as easy as possible. But let me show you what's going to happen in this case if I use my fill handle and just copy this down. Look how I have zeros. Let's go see why. Well, we know this one's correct, obviously, but let's look at this first one. This one is taking G9, so it did move down like it should. But look, it also went down up here to cell G4, and there's nothing there. That's why I got 0. If I look at the one below that, again, it went down, G10, that's correct, but look up here, it's G5, that's not correct. So what's happening is it's moving down like it should to make the answer what it thinks should be correct. But what we want is a little different this time. We want the total to move down in the formula, but we never want G3 to change. What we're going to do is in the formula itself, we're going to make G3 what we call absolute. The way you do this is make sure you're clicked in the formula where the G3 is. It doesn't matter if you're in front of the G, behind the 3, or in the middle of it, just as long as you're in G3. And you're going to insert dollar signs in front of the G and in front of the 3. Yes, you can type them, but you can also use on your keyboard your F4 key, and that will actually put those in for you. I'm going to go ahead and type mine in right here real quick, and what you're going to see is that I'm going to actually hit the enter key, and now I've got my same answer, but now it's absolute. The way you actually read this is you want to say G8 times the absolute value of G3. If I copy these down now, notice they're all going to say G9 times the absolute value of G3. This one will say G10 times the absolute value of G3. And that's how you do an absolute value. Now, one thing I just want to give you a little heads up on, In Module 12, we're going to talk a little bit about working with names. You do have the ability, if you'd like, to not have this 15% anywhere on this sheet, and you can still have it do these calculations for you. And we'll come back and use this exercise when we get ready to do that. Well, that's all there is to working with absolute values. Let's go ahead and wrap up Module 8 and move over to Module 9 and talk about working with our